I am Lukika Pelaez, and this is my story. There was a long, maybe about 4 years or so that, probably longer than that, that I went through a very dark period of my life. I was very depressed. That started when I was adolescent and ran into adulthood. Actually, it was a long time, but yeah, I ran away into my own world and ran off, with my friend, my best friend, and, did a lot of things that was foolish. Now that I look back on it, very foolish. Drinking, partying, just kind of stuffing emotions and feelings away instead of being able to relate to people. I felt alone, yeah. I dove deeper into depression, and alcohol wasn't satisfying. It was making my body feel sick, so I started using ecstasy and going, like I said, I love dancing, so I would go to raves and clubs. When ecstasy wouldn't do it, then I moved on to a more harder drug, methamphetamines, and that led me to crazy madness. I moved myself away. I relocated myself to the mainland. I took my cat, moved up to Alaska, lived there for about 2 years. From there, I moved to Las Vegas, and then I moved back. My family was saying that I moved to run away from my problems, but I felt like I was running to something. I was trying to find something, something more than I was. There was always a tugging within me, though, that there was much more than meets the eye, I just didn't know what it was, and that's probably why I left, to go and find it. In Las Vegas, I was living on my own, supporting myself. I wasn't able to pay my rent, and I refused to come back home afterwards. So I went on the street there. That was my first time living on the streets in Las Vegas, and I was able to survive on my own on the streets in Las Vegas. And I didn't steal or rip people off or rip stores. I actually became the queen dumpster diver. I'm on my own. I'm a female with no male with me. I don't have a car to go to. I don't have a closet to go to. And so at any time, if I'm sleeping, I could be taken advantage of. And so I would get high, so I wouldn't sleep. I just had to do what I was doing because it was teaching me something. But at the time, I was doing it just to get high, and I wouldn't have to think about my responsibility or even how to answer to my family. As much as I loved them, I just didn't want to hurt them anymore. I felt like I was hurting them because that's what they were telling me. But I was the one that was hurt. I was the one that was broken. So I stayed on the street in Vegas for about another 1.5 years. I begged my family to bring me back home. And so I came home, and I was under watch. The only person that allowed me into their house was my younger sister here in Punalu'u, but I was still broken inside. And I ended up relapsing. Yeah, so, from, Kahalu'u to Sunset or Wailua, I would roam. And wherever I felt like sleeping, pulling over, and resting, I would. Well, while I was living in my truck, I was robbed, I was raped, I was assaulted. There was just no end to it, but I just pretty much stayed on my own. But when I found out I was pregnant, I couldn't believe it. I didn't think I was worthy of being a mother. So I tried to abort. My medical wouldn't accept it. It was a bittersweet entry. I was dirty when I gave birth. In fact, I was up for a few days. They treated me like scum in there. I wanted to die. But it felt like I was on the run. I was on the run from the evil one. I felt like he was hunting me down. You know, I didn't have the Lord at that time. You know, I went back to that lifestyle. I tried to hide it, you know, and then just before there's just no way of hiding that type of lifestyle, you know. And it came to the point where she called CPS on me, and I just dug out. I packed my most important things in my Honda CRV, and I went on the road with my son. And, you know, we lived in the car for a good year or so, and I knew that I loved the Lord, but I didn't know how to or where to even begin. But it just came to the point where I was under this tree over here, and I started crying, sobbing, hysterically, and because I was going to lose my son and the life that I wanted with him. And I didn't have anybody to turn to. I didn't have my mom, my sister, my dad, and not even a friend. And so in the midst of all the crying, the tears, and my son just looking at me, not knowing what to do or how to comfort, because he was only a year and a half, I heard this voice from deep within. It said that I had to make a choice to keep on living the life that I knew, or to trust, to yield and obey, to walk his way, to walk this way. I didn't know what to do other than just to submit to it, submit to the voice, and just say yes within my heart. And in every fiber of my being, yes. I've tried it my way. I've tried it my father's way. I've tried it society's way. I've tried it my doctor's way. I've tried it my every way. But I will try it your way. I have nothing else to trust. No one else to trust. I no longer had a taste of doing drugs anymore. And it was clear to me who I belonged to. I felt his presence. I couldn't hear him though. And I still remember when I asked the Lord, or begged the Lord, I need to hear you. I can't hear you, Lord. I need to hear you. And then he started speaking to me. But it wasn't until we moved to Wahiwa, until we started going to Mililani, New Hope Mililani, that I'm on a first name basis with the Lord. Y'all were so caring. I didn't feel uncomfortable whatsoever. I didn't feel like I had to win the heart of people. I felt like I could just be there to praise the Lord. And it wasn't about who I was, what I had done, or what I had not done. And even though people know my story and have seen people on the street or know people that lived a story like mine, that's not who I am. In their eyes, I'm a child of God. And there's nothing that compares to that. There's no drug that can ever compare to feeling and believing and knowing that I am a child of God.